Good afternoon. I am Peter Wuenschel, Chair of the Education Division of the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. Welcome to Education Connections. Education Connections is a monthly webinar hosted by the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. The mission of the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce is to be champions of business success and quality of life in our community. The foundation of business success begins with the region's educational system, which includes pre-K through the highest professional degrees. This webinar series showcases the people who lead our institutions. We ask these leaders to share issues facing our educational institutions now and in the future. Today I have with me Brian Palazzi, who is the Director of Safe and Secure Schools for the Clear Creek Independent School District. Welcome, Brian.
Thank you, Peter.
Thank you. I know it took a long time for us to get here, but we're going to struggle through it.
We wait for good things, right?
Absolutely. It's going to be wonderful. So, Brian, I want to begin today by asking you to tell us a little bit about yourself and specifically describe your journey to become the Director of Safe and Secure Schools.
Okay. So I'm originally from New Jersey. I moved down here 17 years ago. Before that, I was in education in New Jersey. I've been in education since I've been down here. It's been a calling of mine, and had a lot of great mentors that led me through different paths and kind of mentored me to show me that some of the abilities that I might not have even known I had. My father was involved in education for a long time up in New Jersey, and he was a principal of a high school, but in charge of the construction and safety of it, and also of the new one. That kind of gave me a little glimpse of what I might have wanted to do. And then I came down here to Texas, and I was involved teaching and coaching, working with at-risk populations. But then, as I started the coaching pathway, I always was concerned about the safety of my athletes, and not just injuring themselves, but safety of if an emergency were to happen. So kind of installed a lot of mechanisms to ensure their safety in terms of planning and preparation. That carried through when I became an administrator at the high school level, where then I was then in charge of construction and safety of the new high school. That part carried me through to got some recommendations, some from administrative mentors that, hey, you might want to put your name in the hat for safe and secure when it comes up. So that's kind of how I've been here, and I've been in this position for 4 years.
Thank you so much, Brian. I appreciate you giving us that personal history. It always makes a difference. So we have several things to talk about today, but before we get into the specifics, will you just give us a real broad overview of the history of safe and secure schools, your department, and what your department offers the school district?
Yes, sir. So safe and secure schools, we're in charge of everything. Basically, we work as the liaison between the administration, schools, and the officers. Our department's not very big, but we work our tails off to make sure that we can try to keep the students and staff safe. Everything from crossing guards to video systems to intercom systems through trainings, safety trainings, and that's kind of why I have this up. This is a great resource that we utilize. This is one of our emergency management resources. This is the actions that no matter where you are in our district, if one of these emergencies happens, you use one of these actions. So you could be over at Hyde or over at Clearbrook, and you're going to have the same response to an emergency situation, which it wasn't always like that in our district. We brought this in. This is from the I Love You Guys after 2018, and our students are, outside of the kindergartners, first grade through 12th grade are trained in this. They know it. We drill it multiple times. It's not a one and done. We talk to the students, but this is a great resource. So this is one of the other things that we do in addition to working with the SLOs, in addition to any emergency that comes through. We get calls and we jump into action.
Awesome. Awesome. You mentioned the SLO, so I did want to talk. I know that you partner with the Galveston County Sheriff's Office and you employ sheriff liaisons. Will you describe what their role is and tell us a little bit about the partnerships you have with other law enforcement? Because I know it's not just the school district, it's the whole community making sure that our kids are safe.
I'm glad you said that, Pete. We really believe in the philosophy of a safety network. It's not just our office. It's not just child services. It's everybody. So our SLOs, man, I'm so thankful that we have a partnership, interlocal agreement with Chief Trosset down there in Galveston. I can't begin to tell you the enormity of the relationships, how impactful they are, they develop these on campus. So, we have 3 officers on the high school campuses. We have an officer on every intermediate campus. And we used to, just because of our lack of numbers, we weren't able to have a really, really prevalent presence, because officers were over maybe four elementary schools, and they couldn't, make the worthwhile time because there were so many. So through the generosity of our board of trustees, I'll say it that way, is we were able to hire 5 more, which now ensures that only each officer will only be in charge of 2 elementary schools. So they can spend a tremendous amount more time there. And it's the relationships. And I think I told it to someone the other day. I said, I wish I could get in a bottle or pictures that I can send out to community members, with the state of our society right now, regardless of, I don't care one way you lean, this way, that way, but to see an officer at a high school eating lunch with students, people would say, oh, no, they don't. No, they don't. I wish people could see that. Obviously, at the elementary level, they're hugging the officer's legs and high five, and they're doing that though at the intermediate and the high school as well. So it's pretty powerful to see that, in addition to all the law enforcement responsibilities that they have, their presence. We feel their presence is profoundly impactful.
And I agree that for me, I think that's one of the things I really love about the community as a whole. It really is about the relationships that we have. And so I appreciate how you have built the partnerships and the collaboration with other law enforcements. Pretty awesome.
I'm sorry, real quick. I didn't want it to go without saying, though, that in addition to our SLOs, the relationships we have with Chief Ratliff and the entire League City Police Department, the HPD over near Clear Lake, Precinct 8, everyone. We know everybody, and they know us, and we can reach out at any moment, and that's built through relationships.
Absolutely, and that makes me feel more secure. I appreciate it, and again, it is about relationships and building those partnerships, that collaboration. Now I know after the Santa Fe shooting that there were some upgrades made here in CCISD. Can you speak a little bit to that?
Absolutely. Before Santa Fe even happened, CCISD had the foresight to create a safety committee before they were even required. That safety committee was large. It was over 60 people, but that was to talk about safety and resources that our district feels we might need to employ. Obviously Santa Fe happened, and then after that, the meeting, a couple of the senators came to our meetings, and interestingly enough, when Senate Bill 11 was passed, a lot of the what we implemented was in that bill. So kind of makes you feel good that you're doing the right work. But We created the secure vestibules at all of our schools. And what that is you can't get there's no direct access to a student. You have to be buzzed in to get there. So none of the schools have direct access. Bullet resistant glass. And what that is, it's not bulletproof, but what it is that it'll deflect the bullet a little bit, change its trajectory, but you can't smash the window. And that's what a lot of, through some tragedies, that's how a lot of things happen. They would shoot the glass, kick it out. But so that's on our windows. Camera systems, the standard response protocol, which you see on the screen. But the big one is, and this was tough because in the more recent mandates by the commissioner, he had said you need some sort of panic key, and that's not a simple, task to do. But back in 2018, that was one of the recommendations from our safety committee was give every one of our staff members, students as well, in our district. Every phone in our district is equipped with a hotkey or a panic button. What that is at any moment, anybody, if they need assistance and they cannot contact anybody, they don't know who to contact. There's one button on every phone that is a emergency call. Comes to our office. Those calls are answered. Everyone is even if one person's not in, everyone's been trained on how to dispatch those calls from 7 to 5 every day. That is manned. After those hours, obviously you use 911, but we really thought it important to give the teachers and the students and all the staff the ability and the peace of mind to call on a one touch rather than have to worrying about numbers and try to get in touch with the administration, picking up the line, and I dial 9 out, then do I have to dial 9 again and then 11? So it was a lot of confusion. But at first there was a lot of accidental calls, or calls that I don't like Miss Smith, something like that. We get it, or a custodian cleaning it. But now everyone knows that number, and everyone, students, staff alike, can call it, and we get calls. If people need help, we will be there. If you on every call, regardless if it's accidental, one of our SLOs is being dispatched. If we'll call back. If we call back and you say it's an accident, we're dispatching. If we call back and there's nobody answering, we're dispatching. So regardless of the reason, we are dispatching an officer to their room that calls the 411 button.
So Brian, I know that the state of Texas is taking school safety very, very seriously. And one of the things that the governor did just before school started is he required a safety audit. And I'd like you to talk about the audit very specifically and how CCISD fared in that audit.
Yeah, no problem. So I'll give you a little background on it. So the commissioner made that public on June 30th, I believe. Well, it was kind of 4th of July weekend, so no one saw it till July 5th. So on July 5th, we learned about it, and we were tasked before the end of the school year to meet the summer audit requirements, which the big one was we had to assess every exterior door in our school district. And what I mean by assess it is the door jambs, the frames, the hardware, the hinges, making sure it works properly as it's intended to do. If it's not, putting work orders in. So that had to be done. I don't have an exact number for doors, but every exterior door of our 46 campuses and 46 campuses had to be assessed, and we got it done. We were done actually a week beforehand. That was a Herculean effort, but I can tell you right now is Mr. Miller, Paul Miller, our assistant superintendent, Alex Aragon, who's over facilities and operations, Ed Hall, who's over maintenance. They I don't want to say dropped what they were doing, but figured out a way to put teams together to get this done, because it was so important. One of the other things too is that it was not a mandate, but we figured that, hey, we're putting this time and effort to go around to the different buildings to check the exterior doors. We're going to check the interior doors too. So we also did an assessment of our almost 4,000 interior doors to make sure that the toggle locks, which was one of the implementations from 2018, where a teacher or student can lock the door without a key from the inside. That was a big takeaway. Make sure they're all working, make sure all the handles are working, the frames. So that was a big one. In addition was, we are in the process of, because I'm kind of going back and forth between what was needed and what process we did, because in addition to all of the exterior door checks, we were working on things. So we went around and we started numbering the exterior doors. And the reason that has been done was to, on the recommendations of our law enforcement, that helps them, their response to an emergency quicker. So we wanted to make sure that we did that. We also updated with our architects all of the floor plans of every campus, and we wanted to get those to the law enforcement agencies. So there was another mandate that the commissioner had put upon us, was we were tasked with putting together some sort of process to check the exterior doors during the school day. They didn't give how you were going to do it, but also a way to monitor it. So we have a process in place, and we have a reporting system in place for the door checks. And what you see on the screen, it leads me into this. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty darn sure that what you see on the right-hand side is a door alarm. That gets attached to the doors. I think we're the only district in the state of Texas right now that has this. These were implemented on every exterior door in our district, and they were activated. So to start this school year, if you prop a door open, which we don't want anyone to do, if you prop a door open, the alarm will go off, and the administration team gets an email. So this is a big move forward. I'm doing a presentation at some later this week, and I said, the first day of school, a new era. Our school days, are not the same as what our students, are experiencing now. But we also didn't have to deal with some of the things that they do. So staff wearing ID badges, students wearing ID badges, no propping of doors. Everyone in the district's been trained to not open the door for anyone. For myself, anyone that can get in the building has a badge and can get in, or a key. So any visitor to the district, to the campus, has to go around through the secure entrance. So everybody is on the same page now, with not propping doors, not opening doors, and the limited entrances, access points, where now once school starts, there's only one door open and you're coming through one entrance and you have to be buzzed into the school. So the exterior sweeps we're fortunate enough to have a door ajar alarm system. That's great. Okay. But that doesn't do anything if the door's just as if it's unlocked. That's only if it's propped. So we have we have people on the elementary campuses, people on the intermediate and high school that are going around to check exterior doors daily, and they have to report it at the end of the week. So in addition to, hey, the door's not propped, we are now making sure the doors are not unlocked as well.
Brian, I appreciate this comprehensive approach to safety. It's pretty awesome. I have 2 more questions that I wanted to ask you. First is, what is the greatest challenge that you have as the director of Safe and Secure Schools? What's your greatest challenge?
That's a great question. Because a lot of times my coworkers or peers from other districts, or people that I know here, like my nephew plays football, over at one of the schools. So they're like, "Oh my gosh, your job that's the hardest job ever," and especially now since Uvalde. And I've never thought of it that way. I'm not trying to sound all holier than thou. I really don't. Like I feel that I'm just helping everyone in a different way, like I did previously. And I look at it every day. Like when we get an emergency call, it's not, oh my gosh. It's, hey, let's go, let's fix this. So I want to say probably the most challenging aspect of it is other people's actions. I can control everything we put in. I could control the doors, the badge access, the cameras, the door ajar alarms. I can put, hidden cameras. We're in control of all of that. Trainings with teachers, all of that. I can't control when someone makes a threatening call, which, fine, worry me. But obviously, is that it puts panic in so many other people, which is why they're doing it. But I don't lean on me, like threaten me. Like especially the first day we went to school, I'm watching these kindergartners run around, and I'm talking to them, and they're high-fiving. They don't have a worry in the world, yet who knows? There's a chance that they could. So there's a lot of things I can control, but I guess the most challenging part is the things I can't control.
Understood. You have a tough job. Okay, my final question. Brian, what are you most proud of regarding the safety and security that we have here in CCISD? What are you most proud of?
So, Dr. Smith, one of our former superintendents, I'll say it was my first year. He sent me to a couple. He said, "Go to a couple conferences. I want you to network. I want you to see what's out there." And I would come back every time, and he'd make me come and sit with him. And he goes, "Well," and this is what I'm most proud of. So he said, "Well," and I said, "Well, and I was hemming and hawing. He goes, "Brian, just tell me." I said, "Dr. Smith, I don't want to say it was a waste of time, but the conference was asking me for my input rather than me being able to gain from somebody else." And he shook his head. He goes, that's right. He goes, "You're going to experience that." He goes, our committee put a lot of time and effort in to what we have in our district. He goes, "And you're going to experience that." He goes, "But what you need to do is find people in different districts here and there that we could pull from." So it's almost uncomfortable when you go to some sort of conference and they're asking questions, and I raise my hand, or then they're like, "What is CCISD doing?" And it happens. It happens at every conference we go to. And we're not reinventing the wheel. I just think that our board of trustees understands the importance of it. And when we come to them and we say we need some funding for this, they, without question, they oblige. So I'm very proud of who we are, who we work for, and that the shared importance in our safety network.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. And I'm elated to be part of this school district because I really feel we do go above and beyond in helping to keep our kids safe and secure, and helping them have a fabulous education. So I'm happy that you're so much a part of it.
What was interesting, I just want to throw one thing out, is
Yeah.
We were at a Secret Service presentation, one of my team members and I, and they talked about new technology that's coming out, and they started showing the door ajar alarms.
Yeah.
And I wanted to raise my hand, but I didn't.
Exactly. No, that's cool. That's cool that you can say, "Oh, no, we're doing it already. We're on the cutting edge." That is absolutely fabulous. Brian Palazzi, Director of Safe and Secure Schools. Thank you so much for being with us. I appreciate it. I wanted the community to know how safe this school district is, and you're a big part of that. And thank you so much for the partnerships and everything you bring to the Clear Lake area community.
I really appreciate you guys having me, and obviously I've always appreciated the chamber.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for Education Connections, sponsored by the Clear Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. We'll be off next month because we're going to focus on arts, but we'll be back in September. Thank you again for joining us, or October, sorry. We'll figure it out. Thank you, and we'll see you next time on Education Connections.